Dubbed the next Wayne Rooney, Mason Greenwood electrified any stadium he played in with his raw talents and incredible work ethic on the pitch. From his jaw-dropping skills to his uncanny goal-scoring prowess, this prodigious young star is definitely a goalie's worst nightmare. But you might be wondering, where is Mason Greenwood today? And how did a fan favourite who was one of the youngest players to join United's main squad become a no-show to club matches despite having an active contract? To get a comprehensive answer to these questions, let's delve into Mason's story from the beginning, examine the efforts he made to build his impressive repertoire, and understand the decisions that led to the decline of this exceptional player, who was hailed as the best to emerge from Manchester United's academy in the past decade. This is the controversial comeback of Mason Greenwood.
It's one of the faces of the future, they hope. Mason Greenwood who does it.
Mason Will John Greenwood was born on the 1st of October in 2001 in Bradford, West Yorkshire, England, to parents Andrew and Melanie Greenwood. Due to his family's background in sports, young Greenwood developed a keen interest in football and soon became an ardent fan of Manchester United. However, he wasn't content with admiring his heroes from afar. The little man dreamed of the day he would finally become a part of the team and worked tirelessly toward achieving his goal. At 5 years old, Greenwood joined his school team, Westwood Juniors. It was during his second year there that his remarkable talent on the pitch caught the attention of scouts from Manchester United and was soon enrolled in Man U's development school in Halifax. While Manchester United Academy does have many promising stars, Greenwood managed to stand out from his peers for one single reason. The young man is a natural-born athlete and a hard worker who constantly trained to be the best. As a kid, Greenwood joined an under-13 sprinting competition and smashed the British 100 metres record. He could have easily been granted a scholarship to train for any sport and would excel instantly. However, Greenwood decided to forego athletics pursuits and remained focused on his ultimate goal, pursuing a career as a Manchester United player. You could say that Greenwood's character and skill set bloomed at the academy. He was showing up early for practice, executing powerful shots with both feet, and he quickly mastered any trick he was taught. The young man was so good that he was drafted to Manchester United's under-18 squad for the 2017-18 season, even though he could have easily played for the under-16s squad. And it turned out that this was the right decision, as Greenwood became the top scorer of the under-18 Premier League North, scoring 17 goals in only 21 games. He was also honoured with the Player of the Tournament award, as his youth team triumphed to win the ICGT trophy in the Netherlands in 2018. In the finals, the boys fought hard against Real Madrid, winning with an impressive 1-0 on the scoreboard. And the player that cemented the win for the club was none other than Greenwood. You could say that he was basically speedrunning his early career by accomplishing feats comparable to seasoned players. Fast forward to the next year, the prodigy made it to the main team and made history again by scoring in a UEFA Europa League match against Astana, becoming the club's youngest ever goalscorer in European competition at just under 18 years old. The forward player continued to dominate in the Premier League for the next couple of years. Even though he was a substitute player in most of the games, Mason holds an impressive record of appearing 83 times and scoring 22 goals with 4 assists. His undeniable talent on the pitch was only rivaled by the massive number of fans he attracted. He has even been praised by senior players in United like Marcus Rashford and Luke Shaw, with fans comparing his skills on the pitch to that of Robin van Persie in his prime. While the sky looked to be the limit for the young man, a series of unfortunate events, some of which were a direct result of his actions, were enough to not only put his career on hold, but also placed him at risk of spending a considerable portion of his life behind bars.
It involves the footballer Mason Greenwood.
On Sunday, he was detained on suspicion of rape and assault. The 20-year-old was suspended from playing or training with his club following the weekend's allegation.
Manchester United footballer, he has been further arrested by the police on suspicion of sexual assault and threats to kill. The question is, what's next for Mason Greenwood?
In January 2022, Greenwood encountered significant legal issues as he was arrested on suspicion of committing rape and assault against a woman. Additionally, a few days later, he faced further suspicion related to SA and threats of harm. You see, while Greenwood is known for his incredible work ethic at Old Trafford, he is also Manchester United's resident bad boy, known for throwing massive parties and sneaking out of his parents' house late at night. Back in 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when London and most of the world was on lockdown, this young man threw not one, not two, but 6 big parties in Salford.
There's Greenwood, look, quarantining Greenwood. Oh, hey, shitty arse, pushing the wrong guy.
Despite the obvious regulations that required people to stay indoors, Greenwood was spotted in his Mercedes-Benz, cruising around Manchester without a care in the world. He was completely aware that he was breaking the rules, and to avoid getting caught on Manchester United's radar, Greenwood organised these parties by renting multiple floors of buildings through Airbnbs. The parties would go on for months, with many young Greenwood fans showing up at the locations to have the time of their lives at the expense of the rich star. Since the rowdy get-together went on from dusk till dawn several days a week, neighbours were, unsurprisingly, annoyed and urged the police to do something about the rambunctious star. Although the police were aware of these incidents, they chose not to take formal action. Instead, officers visited United's Carrington base and requested the club to exercise better control over their promising young talent. You could say that the staff at United had no hope of keeping young Rich Greenwood in check, since the player showed no signs of stopping anytime soon. At this point, he was riding the waves of his success, pushing the boundaries of the things he can get away with while under the protective umbrella his skills on the pitch provided. However, the next stunt he pulled was far too serious for United to turn a blind eye, and it all happened in his debut for England's national team in the Nations League tournament. Mason got to play in the second half of England's first game against Iceland. After a grueling and a mostly goalless match, his team managed to hit a last-minute goal to secure the win. The promising star got a little too ecstatic as he celebrated his win by sneaking 2 Icelandic models to the Saga Radisson Blue Hotel in Reykjavik only hours after the match ended. Greenwood wasn't alone in his hijinks this time, as he and Manchester City star Foden paid a hotel staff to sneak in model Nadia Sif Lindell Gunnarsdottir and her cousin Lara Clausen to the hotel during the height of the pandemic, effectively breaking COVID-19 lockdown restrictions.
What would you say?
What's the plan?
What's the plan?
Hmm.
Well, depends what you want. Said depends what you want.
We can come to the hotel.
As soon as the two players were caught, they were removed from the England squad and sent home in disgrace. While there was clearly heat on Greenwood, amid all the stunts he pulled in the past, you could say Manchester United overlooked his antics to some degree and always forgave his behaviour. That is, until 2022, when his girlfriend Harriet Robson posted some graphic pictures, videos and audio recordings online, claiming United's starboy was a violent woman beater. Robson's post showed the injuries she allegedly sustained from Greenwood. There was a clip of her bloodied lip, pictures of bruises all over her body, and an audio that implied that Greenwood tried to force himself on her. Robson's accusations in the now-deleted post marked the beginning of a stubborn stain on young Greenwood's career. Since Manchester United could not turn a blind eye to these serious allegations, the club suspended Mason indefinitely until court proceedings and the club's internal investigation were over. The once shining star played his potential last match with Manchester United against West Ham on January 22nd, 2022. And 11 days after the match he was arrested and charged of attempted rape, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and displaying controlling and coercive behaviour. That wouldn't be the only time he was arrested across the span of the court proceedings. The United player was brought in again when he breached his bail by attempting to reach out to his girlfriend. Due to the severity of the incident, Greenwood hasn't trained with or played for either his club or the national team since then. He also lost his Nike endorsement with the company, publicly stating that it does not want to be affiliated with the controversial player. Shortly after, Electronic Arts kicked Greenwood's player data from active squads on its FIFA 22 game. However, in February 2023, about a year since the incident started, the Crown Prosecution Service decided to discontinue the proceedings against Greenwood. The CPS told the public that the decision was prompted due to the withdrawal of key witnesses and the emergence of new material. While Mason Greenwood can finally breathe a sigh of relief, copies of Harriet's original post still remain on the internet, with fans expressing conflicting thoughts over his girlfriend's controversial post. Some are crying for justice, and others simply wave the incident off as a young man's mistake. In a surprising turn of events, fans soon uncovered the probable reason why the charges were dropped. Weeks after the turmoil died down, Harriet and Mason revealed to the public that they were expecting a baby, and the couple appeared to be happy together. They even threw some hints that they might be getting married soon. Although the conflict appears to be resolved, fan speculations did not end. Some of them allege that the Robson family dropped the charges against Greenwood in order to protect their daughter's unborn child. All that's going through the 21-year-old striker's head is rebuilding his image, which has plummeted significantly in the past year. Greenwood went from being the hottest rising star to just another controversial rookie. Although his charges were dropped, it became evident that he would not be returning to training until at least the next league season. United made this decision after launching an internal investigation into the events surrounding his arrest. It is important to know that Mason Greenwood's contract with Manchester United extends for another 2 years. Since his suspension from playing, which started in January 2022, he has continued to receive a weekly salary of £75,000. Amidst United's internal investigation, the men's squad holds differing opinions on whether the former academy star should be allowed to return. Insider sources from The Sun revealed that while the men's views are split between supporting Greenwood's comeback and flat-out objection to his return, Manchester United manager and most players in the squad are happy to welcome him back. But the women's squad, especially those who share the Carrington base with the men, seem to hold a unified opinion that Greenwood should be booted out of the club. They are deeply concerned about his potential return to the team, considering the allegations surrounding his initial arrest. The founder of the United Women's Supporters Club, Natalie Burrell, went as far to say that letting Greenwood back would be the worst decision the club could make. Manchester United fans, both male and female, have come out with statements regarding restoring Greenwood back to the squad. In the men's statement, they are more than happy to welcome Mason back to the team, and that his return reinforces the notion that people can learn from their mistakes and work to better themselves. In the women's statement, they are on the opposing side. They state that his return legitimizes and normalizes sexual assault and domestic abuse. It also tells us, as women, that we don't matter, and that Greenwood's potential return will tell us what kind of values and traditions Man United appreciate. Some leaks speculate that Mason Greenwood is set to be announced back to Old Trafford to resume his career. Others suspect that Greenwood will be sent out on loan in order to cool down the situation and slowly but surely get him back to the first team. Either way, videos have started to appear of Greenwood practicing on his own, with fans speculating that he is in fact preparing for a comeback. There's also rumours about United hosting an interview with Greenwood to get his part of the story on the table. Some might say this is a PR move from United, and that they don't care about the people affected by abuse, and only about Greenwood as a valuable asset for the club. He's also been added back to the newly rebranded FIFA game called EAFC 24, which further confirms that Greenwood will indeed make a comeback. However, it's not certain if that comeback will be for Manchester United. United's investigation is still ongoing, and Greenwood is still prohibited from training or playing for the club, with recent sources from The Sun claiming that he will get dumped from the squad. On August 16th, United released a statement regarding Mason Greenwood, where they concluded that they were in the final stages of making a decision on Mason's future. This statement got a lot of media attention, with outrage from the United fan base and other football supporters all over the world. Some fans mentioned that the statement wasn't really a statement. The last sentence of the statement also got a lot of media attention and outrage, where United claimed, "This has been a difficult case for everyone associated with Manchester United, and we understand the strong opinions it has provoked based on the partial evidence in the public domain. We ask for patience as we work through the final stages of this carefully considered process."
It very much felt that he was going to be brought back.
I am sick and tired of seeing these fucking freaks backing Mason Greenwood.
And I think at the end of the day, if this lad was fucking Scott McTominay level of player, we wouldn't even have to have this conversation. But the fact that he was rated as a £100 million prospect before this all happened makes this more of a decision in the eyes of some people, not me, but in the eyes of some fans. He is getting major support out there, people saying he's innocent.
If I were a Manchester United fan and Mason Greenwood made his way back into the team, I would never watch that football team again.
Manchester United have made their decision.
Yes, they have decided that Mason Greenwood will not play for Manchester United again.
5 days after a bleak statement from the club, Manchester United has officially announced that Mason Greenwood will no longer be playing for the team. This mutual decision was reached after an internal investigation by the club into the allegations against the player. Greenwood himself released a statement in which he denied the allegations against him and that he was cleared of all charges in February, but both his and the club's statements have only lit more flames to the fire. In his statement, Greenwood admits to making mistakes in his relationship, taking responsibility for the situations leading to the social media posts. Manchester United insists that the online material didn't provide a complete picture and that Greenwood didn't commit the offences he was originally charged with. Is the club truly convinced of his innocence, or are they merely trying to protect the player, the club, and everyone else involved? Was there a behind-the-scenes resolution? Many fans believe that he isn't innocent, primarily because of the social media posts. They feel that Manchester United is covering up for him. They have also been vocal about their dissatisfaction with the handling of the situation, particularly regarding the previous statement released, which they felt was only made to see the fan reactions before a final decision was made. The recent statement from Manchester United added more questions to the table than answers. The most pressing question now is, what's next for Mason Greenwood?
Not a problem for Mason Greenwood, whatever the competition, he scores. Mason Greenwood.
He's got a chance and an equalising goal. And Mason Greenwood, the teenager.